Okay, so today we're going to learn the next unit, which we call Algebra 2. And the first thing we learn about is, it's called evaluation of expressions, but in other words, it's just substitution. So we're going to figure out how to substitute values into a given algebraic expression and evaluate. So keywords are substitute, calculate, and evaluate. There's two links here. There's substitution into expression videos. I can send out this PowerPoint or even post it later, but each of these videos bring you to some extra videos that can help you with substitution. So I can always just either send out the link, or I might even just send out the PowerPoint. Okay, so what does substitution mean? Substitution, remember the letters in algebra are put there to represent numbers that we don't know. So the letters are there as sort of placeholders for numbers we don't know. Numbers that can change while the relationship between them stays the same. So this just means that I can sub in different values to this algebraic expression depending on what I'm trying to do. So it'll make more sense as we go, but we can change and we can pick different numbers while the relationship between the variables stay the same. So the method we're going to use is we're going to rewrite the expression, equation, or formula, make it exactly the same, except where we see the letter, we're going to switch it to the given number. So we're going to be given a formula with letters, and then on the side, usually it says, you know, let A be this and B be this. So we're going to switch the letters, switch the numbers for the letters, and then we're going to put brackets around it, and then we're going to follow with our BEDMAS to work out the value of the expression. So that's the method. We rewrite it, put in the new numbers with brackets, and then we use BEDMAS to solve the equation. So we're going to look at some simple examples first. So the expression I'm given here is 5a. Can you see my laser pointer?
Yeah.
Okay. So the expression we're given is 5a. So this, we have a constant of 5, so that can't change, but this a is a placeholder for any value we choose for a. So in this case, we're saying, what does this expression mean? So find the value when a equals 10. So what does this mean? It means that we're just going to substitute in the 10 where the a position is. So this used to be an a, and now we're making it a 10. So it's 5, and notice how we sub these brackets around, and then we're just going to evaluate. So remember to get rid of the brackets when we get rid of the brackets and we multiply them out. So all you're doing, remember those brackets just indicate multiplication. So even in this expression, the two touching, so there's no addition in between, there's no fraction, which indicates division. It means when they're side by side like that, they're being multiplied. So that's why we put the brackets, and then we just plug this into our calculator or do it in your head if you can. So 5 times 10 is 50. So next we'll look at 8c. This time we're going to let c equal 4. So we're just simply going to take our 8, and where our c was before, we're going to put a 4 in brackets, and we're just going to multiply this out. 8 times 4 gives me 32. Same thing with 3c, but we're going to let c equal 2. So notice we can let these letters be whatever, but the question will usually indicate, well, it actually will always indicate which one you're going to sub in. So 3 times 2 gives me a 6. And then if we do 4 times, so 4p, when p equals 20, 4 times 20, plug that into our calculator, and we get 80. So we rewrite it, switch letters with numbers, and calculate using BEDMAS. They use BEDMAS sometimes, depending on what kind of book you're using. I prefer BEDMAS. Okay, so here's a more complicated example, right? So now our expression has more than one variable, and it has this is a binomial, right? Because that plus sign in between. So we have 3a plus 2c. We're going to let a equal 5 and c equal 4. So our expression here normally was 3a, so we're going to rewrite it, but in the place of an a, we're putting a 5, so we have the brackets around, and in the place of a c, we're putting a 4 with brackets around. Now we're going to follow our BEDMAS. So BEDMAS tells me to do brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, right? So brackets, remember, means if there's work inside of the bracket. So there's nothing happening inside the bracket. It's not like 5 plus 2 or divided or anything. It's just a 5. So then that means we move on to exponents. There's no exponents. So we move on then to division and multiplication in order, the order in which they appear. So I have 3 times 5 here, and then I have another 2 plus 2 times 4 here, sorry. And then I have a plus in the middle. So I can't go 5 plus 2 yet. What I have to do first is multiply my 3 times 5, which is 15, my 2 times 4, which gives me that 8. And now that my multiplication is done, I can add the 15 plus 8, and I end up with a final answer of 23. So try question B and see what you get, and then we'll take it up. I'll give you like a couple minutes to do that.
61.
Okay. Oh, where's my little pen?
So it'd be 6 brackets at 8. Yeah.
So I got 63.
6 times 8 be 48, and then 5 times 3 is 15, and then 48 plus 15 is 63.
Yep, perfect. Next one. Did you want to try? How about you try this one? So it's a trinomial. You're letting t be 2 and u be 4, but 15 doesn't have anything attached to it. So try that one and see.
Would it be 59?
Well, let's see. Oops. Come on, pen. So we have 8 times 2 plus 4 times 7 plus 15. So that gives me 16 plus 28 plus 15, which is 59. Is that what you got? Sorry?
59, yeah.
Great. Awesome. Okay. So we're getting the hang of it. Okay. So I do have these examples, but so to work out, but it seems like you're really getting the point. So we can do, let's maybe just try number 3, 4, and 5. Let's do the harder ones. Okay. And I do have solutions on the next page that we'll also do as well. So try 3, 4, and 5.
Okay. Okay, I'm all done.
Okay.
So number 3, I got 23.
Question 5, I have 23, 6 is 17, and 8 is 12. Maybe I'll write that.
The last one I got 15.
Okay, you could be right. Let me pull up my pen somehow here. 3. My G is 0 plus K is 1. R is 5. 1. So I get 0 plus 1 plus 10 plus 1.
Oh,
so I get 12.
Yeah.
So 3, you know what? 3 times 0, some people put 3. So if it's 3 times 1, it would be 3. Yeah. But in this case, it's 0. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. Moving on. So now we're just going to look at, so the first one, we're going to start bringing in some subtraction and then also some division and get just a little more complicated. Okay, so if we have 8 times y minus 1, so for all of these, our x is going to be 3 and our y is going to be 2. So for the first one, we have 8. We put a bracket, right, for our substitution. Yeah. So we have 8 bracket 3 minus 2. So the biggest thing here is to watch out for this minus sign, right? So we're going to multiply 8. Sorry? Yeah, it's 22. 22. So, yeah, 8 times 3 is 24. Take away 2. So our final answer is 22. And then for the next one, we have 3xy. So we have 3, our x is 3, and our y is 2. So we have 3 times 2. We can multiply. You could do this all in your calculator at once. Your calculator knows how to do this. You could go. Yeah. You can even, in your calculator, you can even use the bracket button. Like you could do 3 bracket 3, and then there's a right bracket. And then you could do a left bracket again, 2, and then a right bracket. And it'll do the whole thing for you. So it'll give you an answer of 18. Or you can do it in steps. So we do 3 times 3 first, which is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Then the next one we have is division. So we have x over y. So
3 minus 2.
Not minus, divided by.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, or you could leave it as a fraction of 3 over 2. In a lot of these, it'll ask you to round to usually 2 decimal places because sometimes our fractions are what we call infinite decimals. And if it does that, you just round. In this case, 3 over 2 is an even 1.5. Okay, so now question D. The biggest thing.
Okay, I'm listening.
The biggest, that's okay. The biggest thing here is to use those brackets because if, and I might even do I think I have an example later, I better, if not, I'll do a new one. But if, let's say this x was a negative 3, then we need to make sure that negative is in brackets too, right? Yeah. So we just have to be really careful with our brackets. So in this one, we're just going to keep it with.
I love your little eraser.
Yeah, this It's funny because when I'm in this view, I have totally different options for my pen. It's way better. Okay,
Okay,
so 3 squared, we can do that in our calculator. So you can use that
9.
exponent button. Yep, exactly. So that's 9.
4.
And then we're going to do the 2 squared first because we do our exponents first. So 2 squared is 4. Now we're going to deal with this multiplication first because we're following BEDMAS. Come on. So I get 3 take away 8 because 2 times 4 is 8. And then 9 minus 8 gives you a 1. So your final answer is 1.
Okay.
And okay, so this is just kind of a true or false, which is fun when you have more than one student, but that's okay. We'll go through it anyways. Okay, true or false? If x equals 3, is 5x equal to 23?
53, you mean?
Or 53, sorry, yeah.
It's false anyway.
Either way, yeah, either way it's false. Oh, I don't have the answers. Yes, this is false. Okay, because it would actually be 5 times 3 would be 15, right?
Yeah.
So if x equals 3, is
False.
4x 43? False, right?
False.
So 4 times 3 is actually going to give you a 12. Let's skip this one. Okay, if x is 3, is x squared equal to 6?
Yes.
No. 3 squared is 9.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that one's always a tricky one, right? Because we think of
Right,
3 times. Yeah, 3,
Yeah.
you know, 3 times 2 and as opposed to 3 times 3. So that one should be false. X minus 2, is it equal to 1?
Yes.
Yes, 3 take away 2 is 1. What if I had x equals negative 3? What would that give me? Well, I'd have a negative 3 for x, right? Take away
Yeah.
2. So negative 3 take away 2, we're going to have to put that in our calculator, but that's a negative 5.
Minus 5? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Now another one. If x equals negative 3 and y equals 4, is x minus y equal to 1?
Yes.
Oh, Crystal, is that
Negative
you?
1.
I am here. I'm just at work.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect.
I'm
So
watching.
It would be
the-
negative 1. Negative
Okay, so we have negative 3 for x and y is 4. So that gives me negative 3 minus 4, which is negative 7.
Yeah. I did it wrong the first time.
Yeah, I actually made it tricky on purpose. Okay, this is skills check. So this is just making sure that we know how to use our BEDMAS rules. Okay, so the reason I have this one in here is because if we remember for BEDMAS, right, our brackets, exponents, but our division and multiplication is the order in which they appear. So if I was to write this out, it would look like this too, right? Because this line indicates division.
Right.
So if I was doing this in order, I would do my 7 times 6 first before I divide by 2. If you go ahead and just put this into your calculator, often if this becomes a plus sign, it's going to do it wrong. So I always tell my students, if you have a fraction and you have 2 numbers and you have something happening on the top, when in doubt, add brackets. Because the calculator will then know to do brackets first, right? It'll know to do all of this before it goes ahead and divides by 2. So this one, we get 21.
21.
Yeah, so 7 times 6 divided by 2 is 21. But let's say I had a different one. So I had 7 plus 6 divided by 2. The problem here is I have 7 plus 6 divided by 2. And if I don't tell my calculator, it's probably going to go ahead and take 6 divided by 2 first, right? Because it's going to know to follow BEDMAS, and BEDMAS tells it to do division first. But the problem is I don't want that. I want it to do my top first. So if I add a bracket around here, it will know to do that. It will know because it has to do brackets first.
So the answer is 10?
Okay, so it's going to be 13. So 7 plus 6 is
Oh.
13 over 2.
Yeah. No.
Right, so 13 divided by 2 is going to give you 6.5, or you could leave it as a fraction. So here's the thing, though. I think what happened, Tara, is Carolyn, is you didn't do the brackets. So if you did 7 plus 6 divided by 2 without the brackets, it will give you a 10. But we don't want the calculator to do that. We want it to do all the math on top before it divides by 2. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Whenever we have questions like this, we add brackets. Okay, so what if I had, so if I have 7 times 0.4 divided by 2, what am I going to get? You can do this in parts too, right? So if I go 7 times 0.4, that always works too. If you don't want to use brackets, we're going to do the top first. So we get 2.8 over 2, which gives me 1.4. Does that make sense?
7 times 0.4 equals, okay. I just gotta watch how I put them in the calculator.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with these questions, and like that's why I always bring up these types of questions, because the biggest thing is knowing to follow BEDMAS and to punch things into your calculator correctly. Okay, so 7 times -3. Let's try that one.
7 times -3 divided by 2. 7 times -3 divided by 2. 7.
So if you're going to hit this into your calculator, you have to make sure you use that negative key, or if you don't use the key, you're going to have to remember that a positive times a negative brings out a negative, right? So I get -21 on the top divided by 2.
So it'll be -10.5?
Yep, -10.5. Correct. Okay, so let's move on to a squared term. So what if I have a 3 squared plus 6?
15.
Well, let's check and see. It sounds right to me, though. 15. Oops, I didn't mean to skip over that, because we have our 9, right? 3 squared is 9 plus 6, which gives you that 15. So 9 squared plus 6, so 9 squared plus 6. You get 9 squared is 81, plus 6 gives you 87.
6 is 87. Yeah.
I just want to skip to, okay, let's do this decimal one. So 0.2 squared plus 6. Okay, so we get 6.04. Is that what we got?
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's do -4 squared. So the biggest thing that students do here is they don't type the brackets around it. So if you do this without typing the brackets and you do -4 squared, the calculator is going to give you -16 often. But the problem, so if it just looked like this, right, and there was no brackets around it, that is -16. But when this brackets around it, it means that I have -4 times -4, right? And we know 2 negatives should make a positive 16. Whereas with this one, we have a negative out front, and then we have our 4 squared, which is negative times 16, which is -16. So you have to be really careful. So the thing you want to do is either input these brackets in your calculator, or remember this sort of rule that it means that I have, a -4 times a -4. And this reigns true with any exponent I put in here. 4 squared is 16 plus 6 gives you 22. Okay, so now we have questions that have brackets. So what I'm trying to teach you here is that we can't do 2 times 7 first, okay? Like, we can expand through the brackets if we want, but BEDMAS tells me that I have to do brackets first. And that means that if there's work happening inside this bracket, and there is, we have 7 plus 8, right? So before we do anything with that 2, yep, and then 2 times 15.
So it'll be 30.
Correct.
Okay.
So if we had 2 times 18, same thing. We're going to do 18 plus 8 times 2 gives me 52. I'm trying to skip to see. I think I put a -1 in here. Or let's just do a decimal one. Decimal ones I always try to tie in because it's just good to have. So same thing. We're going to do the 3.6 plus 8. So nothing different, it's just we're gonna end up with a decimal, so we get 11.6. Then we're gonna multiply by 2, so our answer is going to be 23.2. Is that what we get? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I did put a -1 in here, good. So we have -13 plus 8. So -13 plus 8, just got to be careful there. What am I going to get?
Oh, wait. -13 plus 8 is -5?
Yep, exactly. And then 2 times -5 gives me -10. Okay. So let's try these 3 examples. So remember what we learned earlier, we rewrite it, but we switch letters for numbers and put the brackets around. So let's try question A first and see what you get. So for the first one, we're going to put 3. We're in place of the A, we're going to put a 5, and then plus 2, and in place of the C, we're going to put a -1. So we're going to do that multiplication first. So we're going to do the 3 times 5, and then the 2 times -1. That gives me 15. Oh, I forgot. I switched these out, and I don't think I changed the answers. Okay, let's not do that then. Okay, so 3 times 5 is 15. And then plus 2 times -1 is going to give me -2. So I'm going to get 13.
Yeah.
And then we have A. So, oops, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to actually put a number in there. My little eraser.
That's so cute.
Okay, so A, we have a 5. B, we have a 2. C, we can put the plus sign, but you know what, let's put it in so that it doesn't get confusing. So we have a -1 in for the C, right? So we've been told to put brackets for the ones we're subbing in, but it seems like an excessive amount of brackets. So a positive and a negative, and even if you do this in your calculator, you could do it with the plus and then the -1, but it's just the same as 2 minus 1. So I get 5 times 1, which gives me 5. Does that make sense?
That's what I got.
Good. And then for ABC, we have 5 times, oh, my computer just went dark. I wonder if I'm low on battery. Let me see here. Okay, we'll just finish this one and I'll look. B is 2 and C is -1. So we can do this all in our calculator at once. You can go 5 times 2 times -1, or we can do it in parts. 5 times 2 is 10, times -1 is going to give me -10. Okay, so we only have a few more slides left. Come on. So let's get into some even trickier ones. So now we have like a mixture of things happening. So we have B squared minus C over A.
Minus -1.
Yep. So just making sure that we're putting brackets where the letters are and making sure we're keeping track of those negatives. So what we want to do is we want to do this either in parts, or make sure if we're plugging this into our calculator all at once, we add that extra bracket around the top so that the calculator knows to do all this before. But if we're doing it in steps, actually I don't need to do this, I have it typed out. We're going to do 2 squared, which is 4, and then minus -1. So again, this goes back to our double sign rules, or you could do this in your calculator, but that becomes a +1.
Oh, I actually got it right.
Oh, good. Yay. Okay, so 4 plus 1 gives me 5 over 5, so my final answer is 1. Great. Any questions?
No.
Okay. All right, so I have some more examples. So we'll do these together. I do have answers on the next page, but I'd like to do these together because they are a little bit trickier. So for question 1, I'll just do it off to the side here. My M is 4 my other m is 4, take away 3. So this one actually isn't that tricky, but doing it in steps. So we're going to do what's in the brackets first. 4 take away 3 is 1. So we get an answer of 4. Question 2, we have to be careful with as well. So my f is 2. My g is -3. And then I have 2 plus a -3 again in here. So this 2 double signs, right? A positive and a negative become a negative. So that's 2 take away 3. And then same thing in here, I get 2 take away 3. So I'm just taking these double signs. So again, a positive and a negative and a positive become a negative. And 2 of the same signs become the positive. Now, here's where people are typically going to go wrong. They're going to do this 2 minus 3, but we can't do that, right? So we have to remember bed mass. So we're going to do what's in the brackets first. So I'm going to get a -1. Then what can I do next? Am I going to do the 2 minus 3, or am I going to do my multiplication next?
You do your multiplication first?
Correct. We're going to do multiplication first because BEDMAS tells me that I have to do division multiplication before I do any addition and subtraction. So I'm going to get -3 times -1 gives me 2 plus 3, because -3 times -1 gives you a 3. So my overall answer will be a 5. So we do, oh, I don't know what's going on here. Do multiplication first. So we'll bring number 3 down here. Any questions on that one?
No.
Okay, so we have 2 times my a is being told that it's 3 here squared. Take away b, which is a -2. So making sure that we write that negative and the other negative that we're subbing in, because that will change everything. So we're going to do our exponent first here. So we have 3 squared, which is 9. Take away a -2 is going to become a what? What is this double sign going to change into?
Positive.
Yep, +2. Now what am I going to do next?
So you do 2 times 9.
Exactly. So that's going to give me the 18 plus 2.
Is
And
20.
then my final answer is going to be 20. Yep. Any questions? I'm going to erase the slide. Okay. Okay, so that was number, okay, so we're on to number 4. So 4 times m squared, so this is a negative inside of an exponent, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Take away 3 times a, which is 2, times m, which is -3. So we're going to do our exponent first. -3 squared is going to give me what?
Oh. 9?
Positive 9.
Negative.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nope, positive. Because -3 squared is -3 times -3, right? It's
Right.
all in a bracket,
Yeah.
so that's +9. And then technically we could do all of this next at the same time, but we're going to keep going in order. So we're going to do it in the order in which it appears, right? So here's my first multiplication. So let's do 9 times 4. So we're going to get 36. Take away 3, bracket 2, bracket -3. And then let's do the next multiplication. So here it is. So 3 times 2 gives me that 6, right? And then let's do the next multiplication, which is this piece. So we have a -6 times -3. So be careful here. You can keep it like this and then put, we could keep it like that. So there's a minus, and then 6 times -3 is -18, right? So then what happens to these? Right. It becomes a positive. You could, You could have done that all at once, and you could also do this in your calculator and it would have done most of it for you, but we're going to go step by step and just learn as we go here. So 18 plus 36 is going to give me 54, and I'm done. Any questions on that one? All right, so for question 5, we have f squared. Oh, I don't actually have to write it all out. So f squared is going to be 3 squared. Now this little thing is called the pi, and pi is actually, it's not just a variable, it's actually a number. So pi represents a specific part of when we're measuring circles, but pi is equal to, it's an infinite decimal. So in your calculator, depending what kind of calculator you have, you should have a pi key. And if you hit that pi key, it's equal to 3.141592654. But usually pi, we can just say is 3.14. So you can use the number 3.14, or you can use the pi button in your calculator. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Never heard.
So,
Yes.
so
All right,
3
so-
squared, we're going to do first. So 3 squared gives you 9 times
9,
pi.
9, pi.
So
Yes,
in our
great.
calculator, we can go 9 times pi. So depending what calculator you're using, you might have to use the shift key. Does everybody see pi on their calculator?
Pi. Where are you?
Or you can just use 3.14 if you want.
Oh, I see pi up.
Okay.
3
So you're going to
times
hit 9
pi.
times pi. 9 times pi is going to be
Oh.
28. We'll just
Point
round to 2
26.
decimal places. I have 27 on mine, but 26 might be the case if you use this number. And then take away, and then 3 times pi is going to give me 9.42. So I'm going to do that, 28.27. Oops. Wait, 27. That's not what I said. 28.27 minus 9.42, and I get 18.85 as my final answer. Let me know when you're done writing that down, and I'll do the last one here.
I'm done. Yep.
Okay. So I'm just going to clear this all then.
2 times 1, 3 minus 3 times b negative 2 squared plus 1 negative.
Okay, so all I've done so far is just wrote in everything that I have. So 2 bracket -1 cubed. I put the -2 in for b, and then the -1 and -2. So let's do our exponents first. -1 cubed should give you a -1. And then -2 squared should give you a +4. So now let's do this multiplication. We can actually do all of these multiplications at once, so let's do that. We'll save ourselves a bunch of lines of work. So 2 times -1 gives me -2, -3 times 4 gives me -12, and then -1 times -2 gives me +2. So I should end up with an answer of -12 when I plug that all into my calculator.
-2 Yep.
Great. Okay, that's it. That's it. That's the end of our slideshow. I thought it was, but I couldn't tell.